Hi everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the ICT Visa's frequently asked questions. Now, before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to wish all of you who celebrate a very happy Diwali. Hopefully you had an amazing celebration with all your family and friends. Now, let's take a look at some of the questions that we will be covering in today's video. So now let's look at the first question. So someone asked me, if I have only under $100,000, will my visa get rejected? Now, how much under $100,000 are we talking about? Are we talking about just $20,000? Are you talking about $80,000? Now, the government doesn't say unless you have $100,000 to $150,000, your visa will be rejected. Now, you can't get this information anywhere on the internet, anywhere on the government website that states that you will have to show this much money. The amount of money you show depends on case to case, right? So depends on your business, depends on what you plan to do in the first year, depends on which province you go to. So it depends on so many different factors. I'll take a quick example here. So if you were to say open a software shop here in Toronto, Ontario, okay, and you came just with $50,000, or you are able to show proof of only $50,000. Now, obviously your visa will get rejected because you're talking now about Ontario. The expenses are higher, and that to Toronto. You're talking about getting an office space, which is expensive. You have to hire a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident in the first year. So the money that you show basically proves that you've got money to pay for yourself, take care of your own expenses. And if you're bringing in your family, your family's expenses as well, and your business's first year expenses, especially if it's a startup and you're coming here, you're the first person from your company coming here and setting up operations, doing the incorporation and all of that. You need to make sure that you have enough money to take care of all of these expenses, right? So these are the requirements of the program itself, which I have talked in my video earlier. So you have to hire a Canadian citizen permanent resident, you need to get an office space. So there are so many different expenses that you have to have the money for. So it all, again, depends on what kind of business, okay, which province you're going to go to, what you plan to do in the first year. So if your business plan talks about, say, hiring 3 people in the first year, and you come with just $50,000, again, there is a mismatch clearly. Either you haven't done your research as to how much it costs to pay salaries, because the minimum wage right now in Ontario is $15. So you just have to have these things in mind before you figure out exactly how much money you can bring in. So now let's look at the second question. It says, what happens if my startup is not generating any revenues in the first year? Now, this is an excellent question, okay? If you are a startup, okay, you have been in operation for about 18 months to more than 18 months back home, and it's doing quite well back home, and you decided to expand your operations, so you thought Canada was a great choice, you came here, but you're struggling the first year, right? You don't know the market that well. You've done your research in the business plan and everything, but then things are not going as planned. You're not getting as many clients. You're not even anywhere close to break even. So it sounds like break even will happen only in year 3 or 4. That you've hired the Canadian citizen or the permanent resident, and you are really showing efforts, with regards to the genuinity of your business. So you're doing everything from your end, right? But the business is not growing, you're not making much money, revenues are not coming in as much as you thought it would. Is that going to be a problem for the ICT visa extensions after the first year? The answer is no, okay? So the government knows that if you're a startup, it does take time in a new market to sort of gain business and start generating revenues. They do recognize that as long as you are a genuine business and you're able to show that you have made efforts to really grow the business, you're going after clients, you're trying, you've created employment, okay, with the funds that you have, you're paying a Canadian citizen and a permanent resident. I keep stressing that because it is so important, because the real core of this program is that you're able to show that you are creating a positive economic impact, which really is the core of this program. So if you're able to prove that, but you're still not making revenues or not making a profit, it's still okay. So now let's look at the third question. Does the success of the ICT visa depend on how much revenue is generated in the home country? The answer to this is yes and no. Okay. There are some companies that call me that, are doing okay. They are sort of surviving, but they're not really, hitting the mark in terms of what their revenues are. They are falling behind some of their targets in the home country, but now they're looking to come to Canada. And people have different reasons for why they want to come to Canada, right? I've heard all kinds of reasons because, they really want to. Ultimately, 99% of the cases, they are looking at the PR option after the first year. Okay. But the thing that you have to really understand here is if your company is not doing that well back home, okay, it's struggling, the revenues are there, but not, not fully there yet. It's just sort of surviving. You have you are break even, but then your profits aren't that high. The chances are you're going to struggle to sort of get the ICT visa because, like I told you, if you're not able to prove that you can be successful in your home country, okay, so you know the local market really well, you know what kind of services and products people need. If you're not able to fully succeed in your local market, what are the odds that you're going to come to a new country, new market, and succeed? So they look at everything, right? It's not just that one particular thing that they look at. But if you're able to show that most of your business, say, is coming from the US and Canada, because of which you want to really set up operations here in Canada, you don't have that much business, or most of your business doesn't come from the local market, then it makes sense, right? Then it's like, okay, you know what? Now there's a case here that we can talk about. So there's, again, no straightforward answer to these questions, okay? So it all, again, depends on the kind of business, what kind of clients you have, where are your clients, where is your business coming from at this time? Okay, who's paying for your, services and products? Which country? Where's your target market? So everything sort of comes into the picture when you are looking at the ICT visa. So yes, it is very helpful if you have revenues, but if you don't, and if you're able to prove that some of it is coming from some of the other countries, and which is why you have a strong feeling that if you have a Canadian presence, it will help grow the North American market, then those kind of arguments will really help your case. Thank you again for tuning in and watching till the end. I really hope you found that useful. Now give us that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you get notified as soon as we upload new content. Now, if you have any questions that you want us to cover in our subsequent videos, leave it in the comments below and I will be sure to take them up. I wish you all the very best and good luck.